Us
You
live
are
right now.
joining me on Context Matters. The date is March 14th, 2024. Now, this is a very interesting program. We are talking about freedom. What is it? Who gets it? That's the conversation that we're going to be having today. But I want to start off with a particular situation. I see the video doing the rounds, and this is exactly why this program matters and why context matters. I, in my interest to have persons participate, persons who were messaging me and calling me and wondering where I was, went live and indicated that, listen, I am at the Privy Council and we are waiting. And as we sat there and we waited, we were engaged on my platform, where if you have interest, you come on my platform. I did not seek you out, you came to me. And on that platform, as we did banter and people asked questions and a good long context and discourse, which was to keep persons in high spirit. And we know God on time is the mantra. And as we got there, lo and behold, you are making videos, cutting and pasting and cutting down and speaking about banter in relation to St. Thomas and how we joke during our context matters, which means you have no clue what context means and your mind is completely in the gutter. When I turned my live off and I said, people, I'm going to go and pray, and I'm repeating it, and I said, St. Thomas, you know what to do. Load up the gathering, and you're saying conduct of an attorney. Listen, Isat know God, and I invite people to go and find God. And when I banter with my people and when I show my people love and we have conversations while we learn and we grow and we know what the word of God and the work of God is, I reject any negativity that come. And I am congratulating my team. I'm congratulating the faith that the four men have in knowing that God would have delivered them, and the apex court would have come and say your conviction is quashed. It's better you ask me what that means, because the IQ is low and the aptitude is low, than to pick and find things to make negativity out of a positive situation. But I can tell you, while the mind of man is corrupt, the love and blessings from God is pure. And so that is my response to anyone that find the wrong context into keeping positive vibrations and using sarcasm and satire and joking, as I always will, because the wickedness of man will always be the destruction of the people. I'm going to tell you that. That's all I'm going to say in relation to that. And I'm moving on. I had promised the people who follow me on TikTok, who follow me through Reggae Global Radio and on YouTube, that I would have the conversation about the philosophy of freedom, to speak about what happened in the judgment today. Because I tell you, the law is a jealous mistress. I want to start right there to say, yes, the law is a very jealous mistress. And if you don't learn to fornicate with the law and try to understand it, you will not know your rights. So, in the context that I have been saying for years now, and I want to make this absolutely clear, because I've been saying this for years, that the Constitution is the only protection that you have to be reminded that you're a human being when you come from a society where most of us are poor, where most of us have dreams and don't even begin to have the money to escape that poverty. Now imagine, as a youth, a trying youth, find yourself in the palms of justice, and you are convicted for a crime that you did not do, and you have no money to take it all the way to where the fat lady sings. No, I'm not talking about Lizzo. And the when that happens, you are victorious and the negativity arises, that has to be a rejection. So tonight I'm taking this opportunity to educate those who wish to be educated and who wish to have that type of conversation. And I'm inviting the people, should they all appear tonight, who have been instrumental in ensuring that when there is fornication with the law, when there's learning with the law, and they, while their companions slept, were toiling upwards through the night. People understand, that you get what you put into the work that you do. And I will respectfully reject anybody that think that when I'm encouraging people and speaking in a language that they understand and humanizing situations that are most unfair.
Want to start a business? I can show you how easy it is to form one in just a few steps. First up, starting your LLC.
People who ought to go and fix their lives respectfully. So that's my position on that. But in that vein, I'm going to invite Miss Alexandra Labich to the platform. Most of you may not have known that she was a part of the team and a part of the people behind the scene out of Jamaica, a bright young lady who I would have studied with when I was learning the law, and who I have the opportunity to work with within my chambers. And I want you all to meet the young minds, the bright minds that have the same desire and ambitions for a better Jamaica, and the fight against constitutional rights. So for those of you who also come on the Reason with Rattigan show, or the Andre Stevens show, or Wayne show, and you hear about the one Jamaica Legal Defense Funds, you get an appreciation for who is doing the work, and what the team looks like, and how much work is put into fighting an entire states with an endless amount of resources against people who, when they say they're not guilty, people, the court of public opinion, whether it be through bad mind, whether it be through just self hatred. I'm going to use it like that, would have found their way to minimize or diminish the hard work put into people. But I'm going to say this a million times while we speak about freedom, including the freedom to speak, freedom of expression, and the freedom to be yourself and not be constrained by colonial shackles meted out by the animal farm justice that is present. And I'm saying this passionately because I want people to understand. But without much further ado, Miss Labish, I hope your monitor work and your battery not dead. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, well, so before you start that, some people are big me up and I say, me I gotta get KFC, Jamaican KFC me want. Yeah, me wanting to know that nobody does it better. Big up yourself, Kevin Wright, I see you. Marie Majesty 411, Tanisha Ellis, Viv Chin, I see you. Trishy, big up yourself. Charnel Williams, Nor Loxley Gregory, Neville Lewis, Missy Bram Bram, Marlene Bowman, Daddy's little girl. I seen all of you. I'm calling my people on TikTok. Big up yourself. Munchi, Lisa, British One, Audrey. It's going so fast I can't keep up, but I know you're there. Thank you for joining, and thank you for always trying to share within knowledge. Lexi,
Yes, yes.
I want to start by asking you, how are you feeling about today's events?
I am very relieved, very happy. I think we got the most important thing, which was for the
Mhm,
conviction to be quashed and the appeal to be allowed. While we would have
mhm,
wanted the men to go home to their families today, we live to
mhm.
fight another day. And we will see how things go going from here as it relates to the
Okay.
retrial, the possibility of the retrial.
Well, so it's funny that you say that, and I'm using this platform to have the conversation because the legal luminaries are out. All the lawyers who are on what do they call that space? Jamaican Twitter. All the wides and all the narrows and all the J's and the M's and all, everybody have something to say. And clearly, not to talk down on anybody, but the ones who never go law school, but they just know the law, and they say, oh, it's not gonna happen, and they I don't even know the word vitriol, the trolling on the internet that came with it. But to say to you, in terms of outcomes, when you say the possibility, do you realize that the media is not too au fait with the fact that the judgment has quashed the conviction, and
Yes.
not only that it has quashed the conviction, but also it makes clear that our court has competent jurisdiction under the guidance of a Justice Sykes to do what is right. Rhetorical language to in my interpretation to say take it no further. The
Exactly.
mechanism.
That's the
Yes.
most important thing I would wish for people to understand. It is not a done deal. It has not been said that there is going to be a retrial, which is how I see some persons redistributing it in the media to say that it has been ordered that there is going to be a retrial. That is not the case.
That's what I was getting at, because
Going
context matters, and the big word, in the Jamaican space is two of them, fully done. That is to say, while it is that we have understanding of, it could be language, it could be French, like I'm a fully done chef. I can't cook. Some Rastaman can't cook. I'm from them. And they have a big problem. That is important, and to give people the opportunity to digest what it is. But we're so important. We're so caught up. And I use the context platform to try to use satire and use comedy to educate the people and show them. I had posted I think it was on Instagram or TikTok, a hearse breaking news. And it says, breaking news, the hearse catch a fire and the driver and the dead man escape alive without injuries. And because you're so fascinated by or fixated on being first to report, you don't get all the facts. Because you're so fixated on bringing the information to the public so you can say, I did it first. You don't grasp or have an understanding. And you even bring out the legal luminaries who possibly never even read 2 lines of the case to interpret what it is and give possibilities. And then it steers the nation into a wide confusion.
Exactly.
And on top of that, they worried about gathering, and they worried about St. Thomas and the powers that be. Because we know St. Thomas.
Because I saw a thing, before today, and so I wouldn't have expected people to have that kind of attitude to it. Because there have been calls by some persons to have a repeal of the Obia Act in light of certain things that were in the media before today.
Listen, I cannot believe me I gonna get the blame for the official repeal of the Obia Act. I never even made I made no word about Obia.
No, the issue came up before today,
No, man, I'm saying this is the opportunity now. But anyway, we're not going to go down the rabbit hole with nonsense to distract the people from the fact that one of Jamaica's national treasure lost 12 years and counting of his life from a gamble, from a breach of his fair trial right. which the Privy Council now says is there, even if they're constrained, says it's unacceptable. It is not they cannot, notwithstanding the effect of discharging jury X, the miscreant juror, should never have sat on that jury.
And it's funny because I sit here remembering that in law school, I attended this appeal, the original appeal, as part of the I don't even remember what it's called. I think that you have to you have to attend the court appearance. Right. And I remember speaking with you, and I said to you, well, there's no way that they can lose the appeal because the evidence is so clear. And so it's so significant, it's so important for me to be sitting here today, having played a part in seeing the convictions of those men quashed, as unfortunate it is that it is only being done today.
You know, let me tell you something that is significant, because I'm not sure if they heard what you said a while ago. You said, I remember when I was in law school seeing their appeal. And for you to be saying you were in law school at the hearing of their appeal, I can say law school during their trial, and when there was a conviction, I remember posting on Facebook to Kartel and say, Kartel, the jury paper, and I know you remember it when I did the independent research paper on the jury paper. I said Vybz, Kartel, this is the paper that is going to free you, and to know that this is information that we would have traversed over, and justice is so slow. And you know, justice delayed is justice denied, which is why people are feeling that the men are not victorious. But I'm going to share with you about the effect, to put in context how significant and monumental today was. The conviction of a national treasure and others, dancehall would have been robbed of the visual and the industry of a Vybz Kartel from an improper conviction. But it took him.
LegalZoom makes it simple to start an LLC in 3 easy steps. Your business
12 years and a lot of months to fight it in unfortunate health conditions. And now there people will be defensive and start to say, yes, but he rejected the medical treatment. But the same hospitals where you see rat and roach are run up and down, you know, the bad conditions, they want you to go under the knife, when clearly you've been saying, you don't like me, that's why I'm convicted. And the prosecution was done in such a way where I never get a fair trial. Let me not use language outside of that. And you're saying, I'm afraid of the state, so I won't go under the knife. Only Shorty must run me down with the knife. But don't worry, nobody can run with the knife again. But anyway,
that is so, and I don't know how to get people to appreciate that, but what you just said, it is so important. How do you ask someone who the system has failed so disgustingly to say to them, hey, trust another organ of the state, trust the health system, the justice system might not have done well by you, but trust our health system.
Facts. But there are people who will say that oh well, he refused the treatment, so why is he complaining and being sick? Because humanity is lost. Jamaican people don't treat Jamaican people good. They just simply don't. It is a reality. Look how they treat me. Look how they treat me. I just the diaspora treat me nice and give me KFC, you know. Oh, I knew to Lex. I taking it. You did, yeah, I did. You sent me the picture, show off what you have. But the point or where I'm trying to get with this though is to get to the point that even after that, you're expected to trust. You're expected to give trust, confidence when you're saying, I'm aware of a system that is abusing me. And so any conversation about not wanting to take the treatment is only a wise person would reject the treatment and do so also under legal advice.
Exactly.
And,
Exactly.
and one must note that there was a expedited hearing which the Privy Council wasted no time in hearing and brought an expedited judgment. And we
Grateful for that.
we're grateful and see that as significant. But in terms of the tone, you're in Jamaica and I'm here. Only you can tell me what is the tone, what is the atmosphere, what is the environment like?
Well, the most significant thing I'm seeing is a lot of people are confused as to the effects of the judgment. What does it mean for the men? And as we were talking about earlier, I think persons don't understand, as I was saying, that it is not that they have ordered a retrial, they have remitted it to the Court of Appeal here, who will then make the decision whether or not there is going to be a retrial. So a lot of persons are already thinking, oh my God, he's going to go and have to find money to do a trial again and all those kind of things. But we don't want to take our mind there. We want to remember the theme that we have been pushing, which is God and time.
I love that.
And why this is important is the message that it sends to other persons to say that, hey, the system could have done this. And then, which is the message I'm seeing. No, look how the system failed him, and they're sending him back to the same system for them to retry him again and determine his fate. That is important, because if we lose that kind of hope, the only thing I can see happening is complete anarchy.
Well, I'm glad you say that, because we're going to put that into context right now. And let me start by saying the system that they're making mention of, the jury trial took place post the Charter. So the Charter of Rights was new. If you weren't going to law school at the time and if you weren't taught by Tracy Robinson, to be honest with you, I don't know how you would know the Charter. I'm saying that because I'm UWI-cated, but even though I'm not up at UWI, but I've heard in spaces about the live streaming of the matter, the case files and the coursework that has come in terms of from the university, both Mona through Tracy and everybody, as well as at the law school, to give people education in real time as the jurisprudence changes and preparation, kind of like how we had when we did the Quincy McEwen at school, when we were learning about the Charter and the different how important rights are. The right to life is not greater than the right to freedom of expression. All the rights are equal and must be respected. So I start there to say that it was young. The Justice Campbell at the time, he didn't fix his mind to the Charter.
A CRM shouldn't set your teams back. It should
but also didn't fix his mind to the change in how to deal with fair trial right and his duty as the custos morum, the guardian of the Constitution, to fix his mind to say the fair trial right is now there must be a demonstrably justifiable test to breach this right also. Separate from the telecommunications. And so the Constitution has, through the Charter, has given added protection to the citizen so that the presumption of innocence, no matter what is going on over there and all that you're hearing, the hearing of evidence is nothing to a just verdict, a fair trial in a reasonable time by a fair and impartial jury. So that happened, and then came the Court of Appeal. And the Court of Appeal reasoning was identical to the reasoning of the Privy Council. I've read the judgment, but the outcome is what was different. And so that was at a time where NIDS wasn't upon us. The interpretation or the effect of the Constitution as interpreted by Justice Sykes in the Julian Robinson judgment. Did you know that Julian Robinson was the brother of Tracy Robinson?
Yes.
Can you believe great minds come from one family? And the father is a judge. That type of banter in a house, I can just imagine. That's like when me and Taffy banter. Not Peter, not you, but Taffy. Anyway, moving from that, but I want to also say before I ask you, it is after the appeal in 2020 and the conviction was upheld that in the fastest time possible there was a hearing, motion for leave. That's when I came on board as Kartel's attorney. And this motion goes before the court and was granted out of Jamaica. Significantly, is we went before Justice Brooks, who sat on the panel, Justice McDonald, Bishop, and Justice Straw. I'm saying this to show you that the court, as constituted, is a court of justice, and
Right.
and brilliant minds sit in the local space. So when I hear people calling it kangaroo court and this, I object, because we are a growing nation. We evolve, and that's why the jurisprudence grows through challenging the norms, challenging the customs, and introducing the new interpretation, a new way to look at the law, engaging these judges. And the judges says, understand this, and I want the people to know that at the granting of the leave to appeal, the Court of Appeal had said that at that time that court was functus. And the Court of Appeal made it clear that, listen, they recognize that the conviction ought to have been quashed. And they wrote the questions. And I need to make sure that this is clear. We proposed questions and they perfected the questions. And one of the questions, even though it wasn't answered by the board, it started off by saying, when somebody constitutional rights is breached from the collation, something of evidence, what is the effect of it, and our judges bound? They were asking rhetorical questions. I need to make that clear. And so in the judgment, seeing the Lords say, listen, the court is competent to deal with those issues, so we don't have to deal with it, because this trial was unfair on so many levels. They allowing the miscreant juror to it's a X-Men now, it's jury X, like Professor jury X is allowed to remain, and although the judge never had to investigate him, or they made it clear about the chamber hearing that given the investigation, the defendants didn't have to be there. But key thing that we mustn't miss is they're saying, but the court is competent, and I agree. The court is competent. We have gotten to a place where I don't care what happens. So when I go to court, and me have whole heap of lawsuits in a court. Me sue for everything. Me sue for JP. Me sue for education. Me sue when them trouble Rattigan. Me sue when Rattigan has a question. Everything will happen in Jamaica. Me sue. I mean, should I name Isat sue? But
it's important that Jamaican people are clear on that. That it is not that the courts here are incompetent. And so we can trust them to make the right decisions and to do what is in the interest of justice. They will not turn a blind eye and see things happening and allow it to happen.
Right. So I agree.
We're not damned.
No, we're not. But just to vindicate the court, to say that the court asks questions, we can have a whole discussion as to whether or not those questions were answered. But I think that in my mind, because I was there, I think the questions were rhetorical, and in because the answer to those questions are yes, it's undisputed,
Right.
and because that is of utmost importance. I know that we certainly, myself and you, will be back before the Privy Council to answer similar questions for them to ultimately decide. And that's what's exciting about the law is I'm never mad at a judge at first instance if it doesn't go in my favor, because I understand wholesome the legal process. And there's nothing more beautiful than certainly not if you're sitting in prison, but from a lawyer standpoint, that you take the matter to the apex court, and the apex court gives you, the highest court in the land gives you a judgment that says you were right. I remember when I just came on this case and people are saying, the idiot and the this and the that, and you don't know the law, and the people who have been there long ago saying that it can't work like this. But the vindication comes at the end. So there are no losers when we're trying to change the jurisprudence.
And that's exactly it. I like that. That's the point right there. And it is important to have attorneys who are willing to take on that kind of challenge. It's important for us, every Jamaican citizen. I was on with CVM earlier today and Professor Donna Hope. And let me tell you, it was so interesting for me to sit there and hear someone who is not in the legal profession speak to the importance of this judgment, not just for the appellants, not just for the furtherance of the jurisprudence, but for every single Jamaican citizen to understand that we have rights and we must be treated as human beings in every facet of society. And if it is that those rights are infringed, they must be vindicated.
I agree. Somebody in the comments say, "Me still stuck at the point where you say I want to find it so I can pin it." They say, "Me still stuck at the point where she say, trust them." Pepper C39, see it here. But they say, trust who? But not even trust my shadow. That's what they're saying. But I want you to respond to that.
Now I'm saying we have to. Yes, it's good that if it is that we don't believe we have had the proper recourse, there is, as you have referred to it, the apex court that we can go to say, hey, a decision was made here, and I don't think that it was in keeping with what should have happened. But we don't want to get to a place where it only gets right if it goes to the Privy Council, because the reality is most of us are poor and we will not be able to afford to go to the Privy Council. So what are we going to do? Just sit here and say, fold our hands and say, well, there's nothing more that I could do because I can't go to the Privy Council.
Right.
That's going to be
problematic. Here's the next question though, and I think this question is so significant because what does that mean for the people who actually cannot go to the Privy Council? Because you said it nicely, but what really does it mean if you cannot get to the Privy Council? Are your rights thrown out, or is it that one set of justice for you? What is the expectation there? Because before you answer that, I am 100% sure, and I did get a peep of the conversation that you guys had, is people are now aware that they have constitutional rights. People are now aware that their rights are being breached. people are now aware that people will go to great lengths and even disregard the law in their effort to do justice. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. And so what then? What's the solution in your mind?
Well, in my mind, the difference, say for instance, when this matter came up, because you would have just indicated the struggles you yourself had in advance, the matter in the way that you saw was important as it relates to their constitutional rights and the issue with the jury. But no, I believe the importance of this judgment is that there will be more persons that are aware. So you can't trick people if they have the information. So it's not just about the attorneys who advocate. It's to guide people in how we do everything in our everyday lives. To remember that we are human beings with rights, and people must not just willingly take them away from us, and we sit down and say, well, they must know what they're doing. You must know what you're doing too as a regular citizen. You must know.
But
and know that more than one persons are aware of it. You can have your pick of persons that you can go to now to say, hey, my rights have been infringed. What do I need to do? So there is a discussion on rights, and it is so important for our country to be having those discussions now that we weren't having 10 years ago.
All right. Let's talk about jury. Can we trust the jury now? In light of social media, is there what's your thought on that?
If there's to be a retrial, or just overall?
Increase your profit and work less time with Kittle, a genius new AI tool which is perfect for print on demand.
Yeah, not the reach overall. What do you think?
I still do believe that the jury system is important. It's important to have regular people who think about things in a regular way, say, hey, do I believe this person is innocent, or do I believe this person is guilty or not guilty? Because the judges are going to be more focused on what the law is, but someone sitting on that panel is going to say, well, if it was me, what would I do? And that's an important consideration.
Somebody has asked the question, what is in this case, even if you trust them, you couldn't trust them in this case. So sometimes it depends on the defendants, because what I will say is I trust the system. Big up yourself, Denver Nida. I've done jury trials since I wasn't a part of this trial, but the Tom Tavares KFC, in light of the what he did to protect the constitutional aspect of the case, he did a great job. I think that, like I said, doing a trial in real time, it's completely different from when, and the judges would have said that in terms of the pressure he was under, and they sympathize with the judge. So you have to sympathize with the lawyers as it's happening in real time. Sometimes there are even trials where judges don't even wait on the lawyer to come to court. They just proceed without the lawyer because they want to move on and start the trial whether the person has a lawyer or not. There's just justice comes in many forms, and because of the human element, it doesn't mean that the system is broken. Because there are times you will get a jury who simply is just different from the other one that was a little bit more attentive, was a little bit more engaged, versus another set who is not engaged and probably didn't even want to be in there in the first place. But the idea of a jury of your peers is that it's separate and apart from the system itself.
Right.
What is now clear to me is that the justice system is the judiciary, the judicial as set out in the Constitution, and defense lawyers and prosecutors are just players within the system. They are not the justice system. So
Right.
the prosecutor is there to prosecute and the defense is there to defend. You can't take it personal. The man who has to defend will defend, and the man who have to prosecute will have to prosecute.
True.
I know that the canons that is sacred in the Jamaican space says that prosecutors don't win cases, they do justice in the case.
Exactly.
Albeit defender, the defense wants to win because it's the man against the state. But representative of the states is to do justice, and a part of doing justice is to be able to say, I certainly don't see a fair trial happening, so I would stop it. Or regardless of the fact, I must say I can't participate. So it's incumbent on even defense attorneys to say I can't participate in this unfairness, because when it has to trail through the system, people are going to criticize whether you did something right or not. So the participation in and of itself is wholly unacceptable.
That is true. And I'm happy you bring up Denver Needham, because if there is no other case that you and I have done that makes me see the importance of the jury, is that case.
Yeah. You say it is the what?
I'm saying that that case that we did, Mr. Needham's case,
Yes.
is to me a shining example of the importance of the jury system.
Yeah, that with this, which is what I'm saying.
They were able to see things from the aspect of a father, and not just a person A and a person B, and the law says this, and that is the end of it.
Right. So there are two school of thoughts now. I won't tell you how I feel about the Needham thing, except Mr. Needham bust a case. And then I hear through the grapevine that they anyway, I'm gonna leave that one alone. What there is two school of thought. There's somebody says, you hear somebody, Kevin is saying they have to set them free, no more trial. But then you have the other side, the two Jamaicas, where people are saying, oh yes, it's time to spend taxpayers' money, the money they said they didn't want to waste on a trial, because it would be too expensive to have a new trial. They want to waste that money now, even in the face of not wanting to, pay the real money to do whatever. They have it to retry. So, what is your position on the two school of thoughts? Or you just think that at this point it shouldn't be in the public, tried in the public?
No, I think that it is important that it is in the public space and that persons are able to express a view on it, because the fact of the matter is, it could be anybody that is in that position. And how would you want your trial to go? And this is why, as I said, the jury system is important.
Right. Loving that. All right. So one of the things, and before I even get into the idea, and I don't know if you can stay until 8 o'clock, but before we get to the next hour, before we get to the next hour, I just want to continue to bring some clarity, because this platform is about context matters. It's about having persons. Natalie's inspiration. How you doing? You say hi, and I saw that.
Oh, hey! I was just going for a drive, which is wild because up until
we wanna pretty much give clarity. People are saying how him not get bail and when him go get bail, and I don't know where they're getting the pockets of information for. I just want to say that the Privy Council website, the jcpc.uk, if you go on the website, the very judgment that I'm talking about, and I'm really not going to read from the judgment today unless I absolutely have to, but the judgment is for the public to read. It's for public consumption, because it's a learning moment. It will be a teachable moment, but certainly it is a learning moment for all to see. So I would invite persons to look at the judgment. Look at the press summary if you don't like to read the full judgment, and having read it, then ask questions, ask competent questions, ask questions that make sense, ask questions that will enhance the conversation. And because we're saying we want to learn, we want to be in a position to know our rights, because you never know when you let me tell you something. If you're in Jamaica, your father, your brother, your sister, your friends, nobody's immune. I never know in Jamaica's history that I'd hear say a lawyer thump out a girl teeth. That this is something happening and dragged before the court like a common criminal. I didn't know that happened. But I speak on that because also I'm still in awe that of all the events that took place today, that somebody would think that as a topic of discussion is my lovely blue ring. Yes? And I have a right to talk about St. Thomas because my grandmother comes from St. Thomas and my property in St. Thomas. Uno don't make me go down at St. Thomas and go up at the property. But anyway, let me leave that alone because they're gonna scream, they're gonna take this and say I'm doubling down on it. But the context is what matters and why it is important. And when you are void of a person's history, when you are when you're void of the power of the spoken word, people won't get to understand or even begin to rise above the fray. And so for the way forward, a reporter asked me today if because of the decision today, if I will remain Kartel's lawyer. A reporter asked that. Yeah, I get in a lot of calls. I don't know why, but yeah. Yeah, you want to answer?
The point that is tagged to the screen, Kevin's point,
Yeah.
it's important because that is something that we would have addressed while we were in the Privy Council, that we are arguing against the retrial. We don't think it makes sense at this stage. The time that has passed, the state of the evidence, the cost to the state.
Yes. Exactly. No, man, you're right.
No, sorry, I was reading the other thing on the screen.
Oh, you read? Yeah. I just put it up there because I wanted it there. It says, well, I'm not worried about that. I think that it is important to seek justice. It is important. Right. It is important that that people appreciate that justice is for all. It's difficult when you're not in a situation to know the struggles that people in. Can you imagine living in a space where you don't have no money? Little Kirk did sing a song, "Get up people broke, and then can't get no work. Na. Can you imagine you get up every day? I was having a conversation with Dr. Jackson. You know, Dr. Jackson is our hero. It is Dr. Jackson, who was the dean of the university, the law, the faculty. Yeah, and you know, he's always passionate about trying to send the message that like the ghetto youth, them save and them buy them bike, and they have ambition, they're working, they're trying, but then they're stripped of that because they come from communities, and then you hear they're violence contributors, violence producers, or they're going to be investigated for some crime they're not committed, or their face is placed their face is placed in the media, and people are talking about them, and, you know, tried in the court of public opinion, and then radam, they get off track. You have to find money to pay lawyers. The lawyers aren't cheap. People make fun of.
A CRM shouldn't set your teams back.
People make fun of thing about price double and this and that, but the most important thing that I think that people miss is that to put people through the legal system when they never had money in the first place.
Right.
The thing about there are people who live in impoverished conditions their whole life, but they have to find the money to bury the dead. They have to find the money to get their children out of prison, their sons, their daughters, their spouses, their husbands, their wives, their boyfriends, girlfriends, cousins, aunts, family members, and the expense that it comes with, and just the fear that comes with being in court, having your lawyer and a judge saying that I am not waiting on your lawyer, or just something simple like that, and persons who remain unrepresented, much less when you have representation, you're paying for the representation, and even when you pay the top money for the representation, you still don't get representation. In a system like that, how do we encourage people to continue to trust the system? As you said, that's a question to you.
Yes, that is a question to me. But as you have said, for all its flaws, I do believe that our judges are competent. Regardless, there might be some hiccups and some missteps and things that happen along the way, but I would like to believe that at the moment where the judge has to make a decision, or judges have to make decisions, that they make sound decisions. The jurisprudence has grown so much since this matter, since our matter arose over a decade ago. I don't think that the issues that are coming up now, I don't know that put before our judges today, who I think would be in a better understanding, having been able to sit with our constitution. They would have heard more arguments about it, and now they have the guidance from our Privy Council. I don't see where they would have gone ahead and made some of the decisions that were made by the judge of first instance. I don't see that happening today. That is my opinion.
Okay, I'm glad that you said that. So my thing is this: being in court, being in the space. I think what is good, what would be a new phenomenon is for the public to know our judges. And knowing our judges, for instance, open court judges, an open court system, kind of similar to the.
Are you ready to start providing faster and smarter customer support? eDesk can help.
eDesk